Hey, it's me, Mr. D. I'm gonna just get right to it. There is a lot of information out here that's pretty confusing. Um, People are contacting me, asking me about correction, how to correct your status. Do I authenticate the birth certificate? There's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of junk out there that I don't think you guys necessarily have to do in order to correct your status. What I will say is that you've got to make this government aware of who you are. You've got to give them notice. And I believe that we are going down a rabbit hole, changing this. We are going down a rabbit hole when we try to file all this different paperwork, and everyone's got a different process, and everybody's getting confused because they're calling me. I know. And so what I want to do is what I did when I first got into all of it. Well, it wasn't when I first got into it. When I realized that there was too much information for me to swallow, and it was time for me to put out what I felt. It was time for me to get in contact with my spirit and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Because right now, we are in a situation where this world is getting crazy. And these demons, man, are on us. And if you don't correct your status or let them know who you are, then you're going to continue to allow them to control you. So instead of, to give you guys a quick start, I can show you how to change your status in less than 20 days or 15 days, whatever it is, but it's up to you. And you need to give them notice, write a letter. That's really all you have to do. And if you want to do business with the United States, that's something totally different. But if you want to give them notice of who you are, to change your status right away, and then if you want to file all the other paperwork and stuff, you can do that. But what I'm going to show you how to do is to alert them, tell them right now who you are, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and send them a letter and say, look, I'm going to give you 30 days to rebut this. And an unrebutted affidavit stands as law. And I'm a little frustrated because I want you guys to get this and understand that this is your journey. You are a spirit. You are not meant to be a slave. So take this to heart, you know, write a letter. And this is what I want you to do. There are three things you got to tell them. You got to tell them who you are and who you are not. So right off the bat, what you should say, just like what I did with mine, I said, I am a flesh and blood man. I was born by, Ethel May Sanders. That was my mother. And this is who I am. I am not a slave to anybody. I did not come here to this realm to be governed because I can govern myself. And there are people here that they're parasites and they're vampires that just want to control you. And that's why the word government, I always go back to it. Govern means to control. Mensa is the mind. They want to control your minds, and they're doing it. And, when you got 70, 80% of the American people going out, getting that thing in their arm, it's getting scary because they're changing everything. And if you don't wake up soon, it's going to be too late for you. I'm telling you. Every day you can look up in the sky, and we can walk outside and see a beautiful blue sky at 10 o'clock. And by 2 o'clock, it's all white because they're spraying the skies with toxic metals that'll make you sick. So, people, this is what I want you to do. To get yourself sovereign quickly is to, or not say sovereign, but to understand who you are quickly is to write the letter. First of all, you want to write the letter like I talked about earlier. Who are you? Tell them who you are. And it's like if you want to say something to build or rebuild a relationship with a parent. Think about it that way. You're going to call that or write a letter to your parent and say, look, I know who I was in the past, but this is who I am now. I want to fix whatever I've done wrong. So you just write the letter from the heart. And that's how you're going to do with this government. So the first thing is tell them who you are and get creative. Think about it. Take some time to think about who you are and tell them who you are. And then number two is correct your mistakes. In that letter, you're going to say, look, I made mistakes. I made a mistake and I would like to correct this. And that's where you correct all the driver's license, everything that you've got a license for, everything they ask you, ID, all the stuff that they want you to present, to do, you correct that. You say, look, that is part of your world. When I was born, I was not part of this. I got thrown into it without my consent. As a child, I was too young to consent to all this. So this should not apply to me. So anyway, you write what you're willing to do. Say, I got the driver's license under stress and duress. Because I put in mine that I'm a black man in this country and I got a driver's license. I I put a plate on my car. I register my car because I'm afraid that I'll get pulled over by these highway wolves and get my ass kicked, beat up, shot, or whatever. So I only get the driver's license under stress and duress. I have no other choice because you're taking away all the things I need to be, successful in this world. But that's what you want to do. So go through everything you have, like social security number. Why do you have it? Minimum contacts, and that minimum contacts is using benefits and privileges. Put that in your letter. Why do you use the benefits and privileges? Well, I use them because I have no better choice. You've taken away all the options. You could say, I used to barter with people. Well, now you got to get a license to barter, and you may not have to get the license, but the people you want to barter with already have one. They say, well, we can't barter with you because you don't have a license. So think about that in the letter. You guys look into your heart and write a letter correcting your status. Whatever you want to change, you change that in your letter, and then you send that out to the government. A third thing you want in your letter is your intent, because a lot of times people go to jail for not for intent. And what was your intent? Was your intent to kill them? And that's how they look at you. In your mind, if you meant to do something and you do it, then they're going to lock you up. But they have to prove your intent. So always tell them, my intent is to be honorable. My intent is always to stay in honor and do no harm, cause no loss. And I have no malice in my heart. And when I write this letter to you, I'm writing this letter, to stay in honor. I'd hope that you would stay in honor too. And my intent is never to defraud the federal government, and I want you to respect me as well. If I don't defraud you, don't you defraud me. But this is all you have to do. I'm serious, guys. Write a nice letter. My letter is 23 pages long, and I put everything in there. This marriage is mine. I own this marriage between my wife and I. It's not a marriage between me and the state. It's a marriage between my God and me and my wife. The state's out. Everything I want to rebut that they have done to me, or can't say done to me because you make the choice to do it. But every license I have a marriage license. I rebut marriage license. I have a social security number. I rebutted my social security number and I only use it for setups, but they want you to use it for ID and all these different things. But you write the letter and you tell them that you only use any of these things out of stress and duress, because you really don't have any other choice, because the government controls everything. And if you want to be free, that starts here, and it starts in here. People, I don't know what else to say to you, because I get these calls and everyone is, you're not critically thinking. You've got to start thinking about who you are and why do you let somebody else tell you how to live your life? It's probably out of fear, because most people are afraid to die. And to me, death is just another transition. It's just because you don't die. You just, you get out of this body for one thing, because right now my body aches and shit. I got bad knees, shoulders, but I'm still hitting the gym, I'll tell you. But, you've got to get to the point where you don't fear anything anymore. You got to start loving yourself. And don't let other people get into your business. You look at it this way. You are in this world and you're taught to believe that what somebody else does affects you. And it doesn't. You know, if somebody in California wants to have an abortion, a girl in California wants to have an abortion, I live in Florida. That ain't none of my business. But then somebody say, well, I don't want my tax dollars going to pay for some girl having an abortion in California. Well, it doesn't. None of your tax dollars stay in the United States. Go read the Grace Commission report of 1984. Not a single federal tax dollar stays in the United States. So where do people get the money? If you know, this girl wants to have the abortion, how does she get the money? The money comes out of the Chesapeake Trust. Everybody is separate. Everybody has a separate Chesapeake Trust. That everything you do in this world comes out of that. It doesn't. You think you take all these tax dollars, put them together, and then the money gets distributed out of that for all these government needs. You know, I say corporate because the whole government is corporate, but that's not the case. If she goes to get an abortion in California, she has to sign paperwork. They fill out that paperwork and they send it to the Treasury Department. The Treasury Department sends the money to cover that abortion. It has nothing to do with you. So wake, I almost cuss, wake up. People wake up. It's just, I'm just getting frustrated because even my friends, you know, I get friends that call me and, you know, oh, he died of COVID and all that. No, man, come on. Just people wake up, write your own letter, take the time out and put a letter together. And everything that you want, everything that you don't want, you put in that letter. Have it notarized and then have it published someplace or have it put into the record someplace. You know, that's the quickest way to change your status. You know, if you want to say I'm a sovereign, then you change your status. Write the letter. And you know, think. When I wrote my letter, I sent it to the CIA, the FBI, the Attorney General, the governor of my state, you know, and the Secretary of State. But I decided, you know, I'm gonna take this in my own hands. I'm gonna do my own status correction, and I did it. I haven't filed a UCC1, none of that stuff, man. You know, so but I'm willing to stand on my ground, and that's all you guys have to do. So anyway, I can ramble on, but there's a video out with a status correction letter, and it's called Affidavit of Sovereignty. And I think Thyself, if you go to his site, I think he has it, but you get a chance, go on to YouTube and Google Affidavit of Sovereignty and look at that letter. Take that letter apart and look for, I think there's a PDF of that too. Find that letter, download it, go through it, change it, and make it your own. And then give that to the government. Let them know, because you've got to give them notice. And, you know, your life, if you want a different life, you got to create that life, man. So anyway, I'm not going to keep going. This is Mr. D, Mr. D's Classroom. Remember, happiness is a choice. I choose to be happy, and you are whatever comes after I am.